Okay, thanks guys for joining us tonight. We're going to do our 2023 vision boards. We've got a couple of prompts for you to have an idea of what it is you want to focus on, or maybe some of you already know what you want to focus on. And there's no one way to do this. We're just going to show you a couple of ways and you can see if that suits you, or you can do it your own way. So our vision boards ourselves, once we start making them, I know that I'm going to be making mine in Canva using images off the internet. Christine, I think, is going to be drawing hers. Is there anyone that's like cutting out and gluing tonight? Oh yeah, a couple of people are going to cut out and glue. That's always heaps of fun. I love doing that. And yeah, so we'll have all different ways of doing it. There's no one way of doing it. They're all correct. We're just going to have some fun and we'll be able to chat while we make our vision boards. So that'll be a bit of fun. So I'll get right into it. I did email out some worksheets if people want to use them, but you do not need them. You can scrap it of paper, make notes about this. Oh, Joanne's got hers, good girl. But yes, it's definitely not necessary. So don't worry if you think, oh, what worksheets? I'm about to show you.
I coloured in the square so that you can see it.
I'm sure it's beautiful. It's just blurry because you've got the screen on blur. Yeah, I want to share some stuff too, but yeah, so there's a couple of different ways you can get into focus, and I'm just going to share my screen now to show what we are talking about. Here we go. So this is just one of the worksheets that we created, and it's not my idea. I didn't come up with the idea. You'll see this all over Etsy and different downloadable worksheets from lots of different people, but I've just sort of tweaked it to the way that I like to use it. And they call it the wheel of balance, or the life wheel, or I've called it life balance here. And basically it's nice and easy to use a pie chart. But if you don't have one, you can actually just write down a list of these things and rate them out of whatever you like. We've used a score of out of 10. And the idea is on each one of these sections, I've used 10 sections. I've seen it with 6 sections. I've seen it with 12 sections. So you can decide. For myself, I find if I put too many sections in, I'm already overwhelmed because I think, wow, my life's too full. I don't want all this. But some of the things that are more common to be used is like you might have family. So you might want to rate how things are going with your family at the moment. You might want to have, some people might want to put their marriage there to rate how well that's going. Or they might, if you're single, you might want to put romance, or you might want to put friendships. So it's really personal and up to you what areas of your life you'd like to measure. You might want to put career on one if you're focusing on a job or a career that you want to see if you can progress. You might want to put finances. Most people put some sort of something that relates to finances because we're, pretty well trained to always be focusing on that. It might be that you are looking at savings, or it might be that you're looking at income. It's totally up to you, or the generic word finances. It's totally up to you. You may want to put relaxation, like are you looking after yourself and getting enough relaxation time? Or maybe health for one of those. So how is your health? Are you doing what you need to do for your health? So basically you fill it out with areas of your life that are important to you. I'm sure we're all going to have one section that says writing or publishing or something to do with that. And then in that little wedge, you would just think, at the moment, would I say I'm 10 out of 10, I've achieved it all, I can go now, I can log off because I've done it all, I've got 10 out of 10, don't need to do any more? Or do you feel like you're 5 out of 10? And different parts of your wheel will be different. So I've had some sections each year where I might be 1 out of 10 and I really know I have to focus on that more. So it's just a check-in, like a way to visually see where you're at right now. And what I like to do is I like to do one at the beginning of the year, and then I do one at the end of the year. And I just look at it to see, can I add to some of those? Have I improved some of those areas? Or has something happened? Maybe something's happened to my health and it's brought it down. With things like health too, and all areas of your life. I don't rate based on things that happen. I rate on how I'm handling it. Like, am I doing something about it? So I wouldn't, if I got to a point, and I have never gotten to this point, but if I got to a point where I had 10 out of 10 for health, I would be saying I'm doing everything I can to address my health and keep myself healthy. I wouldn't say that I'm 100% healthier than anybody else. I'd just be saying I am doing all the steps. So that may or may not be the right way for you to rate yours, but I like to look at actions rather than consequences or circumstantial things that happen. So if, you know, your finances, you might feel confident because you're on track. It doesn't mean that you have all the money. It means that you are doing everything you need to do, and you don't need to focus anymore on that because you've got the plans in place. So that's something you can spend a few minutes. Now, if you don't have this, another way I've seen this done is where you just list some things that are part of your life and you just give them a mark out of 10. You might just write next to it 3 out of 10, 10 out of 10. And that's also a good way just to check in. So if that's something you'd like to fill in, or maybe you already have, you could spend a couple of minutes doing that. Another way I can find focus areas that I want to work on is sometimes I'll just split a page in 4, and I'll think, what are my 4 key areas of my life? And it might be work, creativity, home, and me. And then I will start listing inside those 4 squares just everything that I do. So for my home, I might write, what am I doing at the moment? Am I getting into gardening? Am I cooking more? Am I doing this and that? And usually what that will show me is I'm trying to do too many things. I'm trying to take on too many new projects, and I've decided I'm going to do all these great things. Like on a whim, you go, you know what, I really should start knitting again. So you start knitting, but you really can't carry 50 new hobbies. So that's what I usually find out. I'm wondering who here has already got an idea of their areas and what areas they want to focus on. Anyone, or are you sort of playing with it now? Christine?
Yep. So my big one obviously is writing, but it's all to do with everything. Publishing, getting money to be able to pay illustrators, looking at old works that I'd like to get finished and published this year, looking at stuff that I am doing right now, retreat anthologies, all that sort of stuff. So that's a big one for me. So it's all sort of into one thing. And then I think the next one would be health, because I'm about to have a total knee replacement. So that's important to be able to get and keep going and exercising and stuff. And yeah, and I think
2 great
holidays.
examples. Oh yeah, there's some great examples, and I actually would like to focus on those 2 for a moment, because I think it's a good way of showing the measurement thing. When you are saying with your health about getting the knee replacement, do you feel that in the last 12 months you've been doing more towards your health to make that happen than you have previously?
Yes.
So you would probably be colouring in a few more of those bars this year than you did previously.
True. Okay.
Because
so
you're doing a good job and you're working towards it, and you want to reward yourself with that little extra bar that you colour in.
Okay.
And say, yeah, I'm getting a bit better at this. You know, I'm doing a little bit more to make sure it happens. And now with the writing, so you listed a lot of things you'd like to do with the writing. To make that happen, what are some things you need to be able to do that?
I think time management.
Time, great.
Yep.
Time is a big one, because again, this is one of the things I have learned from doing this, that I want to keep adding things to my list of things to do, but there's no magic way of giving yourself more time.
No. So I have learnt that my most creative time is between 8 and 11 a.m. in the morning. So I have to, whatever I'm going to do, I need to do within that 8 and 11, and I need to let people know that they can't contact me then.
Yes, that's the big thing. You need to think, what can I take away so that I can give that time to my writing? And that's one of the things I have to do this year too. So sometimes it's a matter of you do have to decide what can you remove from your time so that you can now reallocate it. And it's hard because
can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the suggestions that one of the things I have found, because now I'm writing full time, put your phone somewhere else. Let your phone take messages.
Yeah.
If your friends know you, they'll know that you're writing, and they know you'll get back to them. But one of the things that I found really distracting was my phone. So I always put my phone elsewhere, nowhere near what I'm doing.
That's good advice. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's key. What Joanne's saying is that you need to identify for you, what is it that's taking your time at the moment? Because there might be, so if it's your phone, yes, remove the phone for a bit. It might be for other people, it might be their family. Their family are just like vampires and sucking the life out of them. We love them. But maybe there has to be some boundaries set where it's like, you know what, guys, I love you. I'll do all these things for you that I can, but maybe you could do the washing, or maybe you could do this instead of now, or just something, you know, to make it a mutual agreement that you're not 24/7 waiting on people. And for other people, it might be their day job is taking so much out of them that they need to maybe refocus and make sure they put boundaries in there. So yeah, just identifying what it is. But definitely for a lot of people, it will be things like devices and phones.
Situations. Yep. I mean, you're always going to have things where they give you a call up and they go, we're all sick, we need you. So I mean, you have to obviously do the right thing by your family as well. You can't be just like cutting it off.
But sometimes you have to put your mask on first before you can help other people.
That's true.
Yes.
That's so true. Yep.
Can't just run yourself too thin where you have nothing left for yourself.
Well, it's interesting because I think as writers, we're very busy people. Creatives are busy people. It's just a really interesting thing I've had a look at. And we just need to learn to, like you said, manage it better.
It's partly discipline
as well.
Some of the things that you want to do, you can't do if you don't force yourself to do it. So you actually have to say, right, that's it. I am sitting down. I am not paying attention to the phone. I am not paying attention to anything. I'm just going to sit and write. And if you don't force yourself to do that, then it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
that's so true. You're exactly right. Yep.
And I think that brings us to the second step in goal setting, because as far as goals go, just wanting something isn't really a goal. It's a wish. Like if you just know that. So for example, Christine just wants to get those books published. That's not actually a strategy or a goal. That's just wishing it will happen. So we've identified that she needs more time and money to do this, because I know some of her books are illustrated picture books and that's quite expensive. So the thing you have to question now is, let's have a strategy. And you don't have to share this with everyone what your strategy will be. I'm just saying this is what you need to think about now is, right, what is my strategy? What is my goal this year to get that time? And what will be my goal? How will I get that money? What am I going to do to get it? And I've worked out how much I need. And you'll actually have, because goals work really well if you can be specific. If you don't go, if we have the goal of, I just need more money. Well, you know, you can, whether you look at it as strategies or putting it out to the universe, either way, unless you give it an amount, you don't know what you're looking for. You don't know how much you're trying to achieve. You don't know how to break it down. If I want to, I think I worked out, if I want to save $13,000 in a year, I need $500 a fortnight. So you just have to actually work it out and then go backwards. And then you can work out, oh, okay, I could do that this way. So having actual steps in your mind for what you would like to do to achieve that goal.
So what I've done so far to help with the money side of it is I'm not going to give away any more money this year. Like I support a lot of things, and I just not going to. And that money is actually going to go into a bank account, and it'll build up. And then I also already put $50 a week away for illustrating, and that's building up. I've just found out I'm up to $950, so that's pretty good. Also, I do sewing, and I get it's not good money, but it's money. And it helps as well. And then also another way of being able to afford all this stuff is one day becoming traditionally published. Which takes away that. And
now we've also looked at some strategies in the past, Christine, that you can make X number of dollars for each thing you sew, or you could increase that by instead creating patterns for people to make their own things and keep selling it tenfold on
Etsy.
Like selling patterns on Etsy, or running one-day workshops every now and then where people can come to sew, which will actually give you a higher profit than you actually sewing the items. So there's a couple of things there you could do to increase, to actually set that up a bit more. So there's different ways, and sometimes just getting with friends and brainstorming ideas is a good way to come up with strategies on how to do it. So I know I also need more time to achieve the things I wanted, and I had a look in my list of all the things I do, and one of my problems is I love everything I do, but some things have to go. So I've decided this year I will not be doing my dog agility training. That hurts a bit, but it takes up a lot of my time. I will not be playing a regular online game of D&D because Christine knows that's like four hours plus a week out of your time.
And it's not just that, it's the setting it up as well. It's more than 4 hours.
So I would still treat myself to a couple of one-off games throughout the year, but not every second Sunday or whatever we would do. Well, we were doing every week at one stage. You
use that game as a reward when you've made, like for Christine, when she's got $1,000, that's when she plays a game.
That's a good idea, Alexia.
That's a good way.
Make the goal have a reward at the end, which helps. Thank you.
And it can also help if you have a penalty. Calling it a penalty. So say you want $1,000 by the end of February, and you miss it, you only get 900. Well, then what do you have to do either to
get it?
You might have to stop to make it up. You might have to stop.
Might not be able to go bowling.
Biscuits or something.
Might not be able to go bowling for a couple of weeks or something.
Usually with me, if I make it, it's a bottle of wine. And if I miss it, it's no YouTube.
I can do no YouTube.
I have to do no YouTube.
I should probably say no TikTok. That takes up a lot of time.
Sorry, Chris.
Charmaine.
At the moment, I start out real good, but I flip back a bit with YouTube. So
there's lots of good things to learn on YouTube. I really, I enjoy. There's lots of writing things, but anyway.
And that might be something to look at too, because I know everyone here, we all take on writing programs and lessons and workshops. And one of the things to think about is just to make sure we're not doing it so often that we're not actually having enough time to write, because we're going to so many workshops, there's no time left. So,
too much craft.
You can give yourself a limit of how many you do. Like, all right, I'm writing and I'm a full-time writer, but I still do the lessons and things because you're constantly learning. But I allocate like January, I always do something. At the moment, I'm doing a course with Daniel David Wallace in America, and that's on plotting, which I'm getting a lot out of. But then I restrict myself like to the writers' retreat, and possibly another conference later in the year. I might do a one weekend through the year too where I do another conference. But limit yourself to 3 or 4 a year, not all the time.
Not everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I remember that first year I came to Queensland, I was like, I'm going to do every workshop.
Me
and
too.
I would have been going to 2 a week at least. And I did a lot. I did online ones. I did them at QWC. I did them everywhere. And I spent a lot of money too. But that wasn't even the biggest problem. The biggest problem, by the end of that year, if I had to tell you what I'd learned in those workshops, there were too many. I couldn't remember it all because it was not sinking in because I was going to too many.
Yeah, and you don't get time to work on your own stuff too. That's another problem. Yeah. It's and I'm retired too, which makes it difficult for me to earn money. So
I know that feeling, Chris.
You know that feeling too. Yeah, it's a tough one, and I find there's a lot of writers who are retired who are taking up writing because that's what they've always wanted to do, and it's a tough thing. You know, we just did a huge budget.
Today's actually the my anniversary. I started working for my hubby 19 years ago.
Wow.
And I pulled the plug on it 3 years ago and said, I love you madly, but I'm not doing it anymore.
Good on you.
Because I want to write. And I have no regrets. Sometimes I think, it'd be nice to have that money. But no, I have no regrets.
Good on you. Good on you. I think it's a tough. In our budget, I've got $60 a month put aside for doing courses and stuff. I think it's a month. If it was a week, it would be good. I'm going to have a look at that.
Can I challenge you then to say, right, I'm going to do 4 courses this year. That's all. That's all.
That sounds like a good number.
Yeah,
I'm going to stick to that too.
And that includes the RWR.
Yeah, we'll have RWR. Christine and I are already looking at a picture book one where we'll have to produce a picture book every month, so it'll be quite productive. So there's
that will
2.
be good.
That only leaves us 2 windows this year.
Wow.
It's, I will say a challenge.
It's good to have a buddy.
Going back to goals, sorry, I was looking for notes and I finally found them. Dream goals. You know, you've heard about SMART goals. Well, dream goals: doable, realistic, exciting, achievable, and meaningful. And
you're going to have to say that slowly. Doable,
realistic.
Wait a minute. Realistic.
Exciting.
Exciting. How do you spell exciting? Yep. Go.
Achievable.
Yep.
Meaningful and measurable.
So it's dream goals.
And then a final R is for review.
I have to say I think I become a bit of a 12-year-old child when I do goal setting, because I actually don't believe there are any goals that are not achievable. I am very strong. I mean, the time frame might change, so it might not be achievable in 2023 to get it done in that year, but it's something I teach my kids in class too. And I will say, like, kids will say, oh, I'd like a fancy car, but I'll never have a fancy car. And I'll say things like, put your hand up if you'd like a can of Coke right now. And all these hands will go up because they all want a can of Coke. And I'll say, does a can of Coke exist? And I'll go, yeah. I go, on a scale of 1 to 100, how hard would it be for you to get a can of Coke today? And they'll all go, oh, it'd be pretty easy, actually. I said, yeah. So you've picked something harder, but it exists. If it exists, you just got to work out what the steps are and work towards it. So if it's out there, you can do it.
Yeah, it's true. Small steps, small goals lead to bigger achievable goals.
Yeah.
So smaller goals. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Sometimes, just saying, oh, I want to buy a car, you've got to work out how you're going to
yes, be
get that.
specific.
Yeah,
have the
break
steps.
it down into steps.
Yeah, yeah.
How am I going to do that? Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. That's good. Yep. can do
It's
that.
good having buddies like here now because they keep you on track. So I've recognized, it's a new thing that I have recognized, that one of my flaws, if I have any flaw at all, no, I do have many flaws, but one of my flaws is I want to take on new things all the time. I am just like, oh, what's that? I want to do that. And if I list them all over the last few years, it's like, let's learn the ukulele. Let's start knitting. I want to learn how to crochet. I want to do dog agility. I'm going to learn how to play D&D. I'm going to, every year there's like a dozen things. So I've got to deal with my daughter at home, Matilda, who's an adult, who says, I've said to her, you can't let me do anything new. She said, all right, I will shoot you in the leg if you try and do anything new. So we have this, and the other day I just started saying something, I can't even remember what it was, and she said, oh, I'll get the gun out, I'm going to shoot you in the leg. And so I'm like, oh yeah, that is another new thing, because all these things will take up your time. I mean, they're not bad things, I'd love to do them, but what I'm really saying, if I want to do those, I'm really saying I don't really want to write, because I'm taking away my writing time.
Yep, so true.
Yeah.
That's one of the
So get a
reasons
buddy.
I gave up blogging too. I thought, well, that's 800 words I can put in my story.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
so true, so true.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you have to do some things that they're necessary that are outside of writing. So like marketing, like social media to build up an audience. We've just, as
but that could be
Christine
tough
mentioned, yeah,
too.
yeah. But you have to be, so I guess what's happened is with the TikTok, Christine mentioned earlier, is RWR now has a TikTok page, Rainforest Writing Retreat, on TikTok, so that we can promote, because there's a lot of writers on TikTok and we'd like to promote to them, hey, we got guys are here. Except when I say promote, if I go in social media, I have a strong rule that you don't blast things at people and not actually interact, because it's social. The year of the influencer is long gone. Nobody wants influencers anymore, because that's just advertising. So I will go on, I will post up something about us, or sometimes just about books we're reading or anything. And then I will go in and comment on some other people's posts and say hello and things like that. But then as soon as I've done that, I just log off and I won't go on again until the next day, because I'm not that interested in just scrolling randomly.
Yes.
But I know it is very addictive, and unfortunately Christine is very interested in that scrolling randomly, and I've got
some
her on
good
it now.
stuff on there. But we have got our first booking from TikTok, so that's that's pretty exciting. Somebody's booked. Oh, anyway.
So I mean, sometimes these things are necessary, but I say always do them with intention.
Yes.
So the idea of the goals page, in case anyone didn't pick up on that, it was just to, now you've identified the areas you want to focus on. It's just to actually list those ideas of what am I actually going to do about it. So if my goal is, so usually a goal is not just going to be more money, because first you'd want to know why. What do you want it for? So how much do you need then? Because we do live in a society where we are taught, especially in Western culture, that we should be always striving for more money. But at the end of the day, maybe it's not the money you actually want, because you might want the money so you can write, and there might be another alternative that you could just live with less money and write. So things like that, many years ago, over 10 years ago now, I really wanted to go to a writing retreat, and the closest one I could find was in Bali, and I didn't like flying, so I didn't want to go to Bali. So that's how we got a writing retreat.
Well, thank you for that. I'm really glad. I mean, I was at that first one.
Yeah, that's right. You were, yeah. And now you're going to be standing up and speaking at the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Wow, that's crazy. That's such a good way of going from the beginning of doing something to showing where you've been.
Well, that's it. It's going to be showing a different road, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that with everybody, because when I first started with you guys, I hadn't, I was working on my first book, but now I've got 5 books out.
They're published. It's fantastic. That's just crazy. That's
and
everybody's
you've come
dream.
full circle because you've been someone who you've absorbed it, but then you put it in place, and now you've gone to the next level where you're giving back. So that's great. We love that.
And I'm really excited about that, because it partly stuff I learned here with you guys, but also stuff I've learned from the courses I've done online and other
and I imagine from some mistakes too. That's one way we tend to learn.
Yeah, you always make mistakes.
So you learn from that.
One of the things I love telling people is that I could still be waiting to publish my first book, but I was sick of getting positive rejections, and I wanted to do something about that.
Yes,
Positive
that's
rejection.
right. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Positive,
so I guess
rejection. Yes.
Yeah. So I guess the next step, guys, is to start to create, once you know what it is you should be focused on doing, it's about creating a visual representation to remind you to do that thing. Now, that can be different for everyone. Some people want very specific pictures of what they want to do, and some people might just want things that represent. So you might put a clock as one of your pictures to represent, I need this time, I need to make time. But I'd really like you to specifically be thinking about how, not generalize, because it won't happen just from wanting it. And everyone talks about how vision boards are quite powerful. And there's lots of different theories. I know there is the manifesting theory that you put out to the universe what you'd like and it will come back. For me personally, it's more about, if I'm reminded, then I know to stay on track and do the work that I need to do to get that goal to happen. And the manifesting is just me doing the job. So you got to turn up, you got to do the work, and it'll happen. You get the reward. So so you could do that by painting. You can do that by gluing, cutting and gluing. I personally am going to go to Canva and create one. One good thing about Canva is that they actually, and Christine noticed this too. Christine, you saw this and posted about this, that there are templates. Oh, Christine Betts. So we've got 2 Christines in tonight. You posted that about the templates. So I'll be using one of the templates tonight to do my vision board. And anytime anyone wants to share something they're doing, if you want us to see a screen, let me know and I'll grant you access so that you can do that.
If you open my screen, I have my vision board that I did at RWR with Chris some years ago.
So I'm going.
I can see that. Is that the one you're holding up?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so can everyone see Joanne's?
Yep.
Yeah, that looks great.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
I will say one thing when you're doing your vision board, be specific. The universe and everything that happens around us sometimes likes to play jokes on us. I remember a couple of years ago on my vision board, I said I wanted to bowl a 300 at the Pan Pacific Masters. And while I was there, I actually bowled a 300, but it was on a bowling game I was playing on my phone. Right. So while I achieved that goal, I didn't actually achieve that goal I really, really wanted. So be specific as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it can play tricks on you.
See, that's got my first business card.
Oh.
And now I've got a whole bunch of business cards and bookmarks and everything else. Wow. So I've achieved certainly some of the stuff there.
So I sure have. You sure
so
have.
A quick question. Did anyone use a keyword or words this year for their goals? Christine, what yours?
Yeah, mine is release.
Release.
So
Yeah.
release as in I want to release books, but also release as in I want to release those things that is taking up my time. So it's a word that means lots of things.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
I'm
my
very
word this
much
year.
on board with that. And I was thinking about release as well a bit. Once you told me, I totally stole the idea, but
That's fine.
release. And also I was thinking about renew, because I have
Release.
put the things that I want to do to the back burner for a lot of years. So it's about releasing so that I can renew my own passions for a while. I think that I'm actually going to sum mine up. I'm now thinking I might use the word intention. Having intention for the things that I do.
Yes. Well, I want things in my writing life to become better this year, even better. So I've got the saying, the best is yet to come.
That's good.
Can you make that into one word? Can you make it into one word? Because you can write the best is yet to come on your vision board, but you need one word. You need to think of what is the best that you can become in one word.
Greater.
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Greater.
Yeah.
Yep. One word.
In my writing,
and that
greater.
if you can,
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
and what about everybody else?
I
went straight to it and said,
it was going to be discipline.
Discipline, that's a good one. Yeah.
Discipline.
Especially because Lexi.
But if you're not disciplined, you won't write if you're not disciplined.
Yeah. Now, Lexi, you write romance, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Lexi, with your keyword discipline, are you thinking about writing a little bit of saucy romance this year?
Nah, look, I tried that donkeys years ago.
Oh, another good word.
Thought, this is verging on rape. Forget about it. I realised now after I looked into erotica and everything, I was just ahead of my time. But I gave up on writing that. I thought it was just so mechanical and everything. So I don't. And I think that's the problem with a lot of the sexy, saucy ones. They're so mechanical now.
Yep. Agreed.
All similar. All the same stuff all the time.
No, I mean to say there's only one.
How different can you make it?
One slot for one thing, isn't it?
There's a couple.
Put right in the slot a B or whatever it is.
I don't want to talk about it.
Look, I
keep
think
it clean, girls. Keep it clean.
This is why we're doing romance this year, girls, because I hate romance and I have to get over it. I mean, as in writing it. So it's got to learn it. Got to get over.
We have
I hate
found
flocks.
Christine and I were a bit reluctant with romance, but we both have found some that we've been reading that we've quite liked. So it has sparked.
I hope one of those is Joanne Austen Brown.
Of course.
Of course. We're talking more about movies and audiobooks and that sort of thing.
I like my romance, but I like suspense and murder and mystery and extra stuff with it.
And that's what I'm saying, though, because all of those genres, which you can still mash together, all have some sort of form of romance, and to be able to slot that in there and make it sound good is something I hope we learn well this year at the retreat.
I read somewhere years ago, this writer was saying every story's a love story. Even the murder mysteries, because it's the love of solving a crime, it's the love of, whatever. But every story's a love story. It doesn't have to be romance. It doesn't have to be.
No, it could be friendship. It could be family. It could be
I just have the romances going along while people are trying to murder other people. That's it.
I love it.
Well,
romances. What's the romances now? Romantic elements. That was a big thing years ago, where they would be writing a crime, but there'd be that element of romance in it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I wrote a Frankenstein story that had romance.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And look, when we were doing our romance short stories, my one is definitely going to have a dead body in it.
Oh, good.
Mine's having baking.
Probably not as one of the romantic characters,
No,
probably.
no.
You're not going to
Probably.
go like necrophilia, are you?
Oh no.
Oh my
Probably
God.
not. I think we're going to keep low on the spice rating for this anthology. Yeah.
Low on the spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done
So
a couple of sweet ones. I can get away with that.
Yeah. We like sweet.
Yeah.
I've
we'll
got
be
to
probably going
work my
sweet.
way into that. I just don't know. It's like, who was saying it before? I think it was Lexi. It's a tough thing writing erotica. Oof.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
sounds
only
like we
sharing
need
my
to go to the
screen
doctor.
for a little bit. I'm not going to make you guys watch me make my whole vision board, but I just want to give you an idea what Canva does in case there's anyone who has not used that, or somebody watching at home has not used Canva before. So basically I went into Canva and I just searched vision board, and there are a lot, you'll see down the side, there's a lot of different templates. I quite like this template, the one that I used for the promotion for doing this. So I'm going to go to uploads. I can upload some pictures from my own. You'll see some previous pictures are in there. I'm going to upload some pictures that I have just downloaded before, not those ones. I just want the.
Oh, I see
these
Ariel's in
ones.
there.
Yeah. Uploading some pictures. And now all I have to do is look at this vision board. Now, I'm just going to leave the one there with the laptop because that's already doing some work for me. But I might, for example, go, part of my home this year is I really need to get a fence so that my doggies, so you just drop your picture on the existing photo and you'll see the one with the plant and the fence there.
Yeah.
I need to eat a bit healthier, so there's some nice fruit there. So it's just a matter of you upload the photos. Now you can just get photos off the internet because there's no copyright on this. You're just creating a vision board for yourself. You're not profiting off it. You're not selling your vision board to anyone. So you can totally steal photos. I go to Unsplash because you can get a lot of photos free there, and they have really nice images. So I'm just going to make this one a little bit smaller. It doesn't need to be really big because I need to do something with that waistline. So the tape measures representing that for me.
Oh, I thought that meant sewing.
I know. See,
that too.
You just reminded me when Matilda was going to shoot me, because I said, I've got this pattern I haven't used. I'm not going to get some fabric. And she said, I will get the gun out. And I went, no, you're right. You're right. I cannot take up sewing again because I just have to get some other things. This year, let's focus on the writing. I do like sewing.
Me too.
Like I say, I like all the things. I want to do all the things. Yes, so yeah. So yeah, you can just make it like it's just so easy. And you'll see there's some here that have text. So I will just say here, act with intention. So I'm making myself some little motivational blurbs in there as well. And there's others that have more photos. One of the things I thought I would do this year is have less pictures on my vision board, so I didn't overload myself, and just keep it simple and focus that way. So I'll go back to our group chat now so that we can see ourselves while we're doing our vision board.
This is mine from last year. See if it.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
That's I drew it, but that's what I do, and I just put all the stuff down that interests me, stuff that I want to achieve, how I'm going to do it, but I do it in picture form, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which is, I love it. I love doing
And
this.
what are some of the things on there, Christine, that you have achieved this year?
I'm going to bed earlier.
Yeah.
Which means that I've got more day to do more writing. Going on family holidays, typesetting. I've learnt typesetting, so that was good. I've reduced 35 kilos, so that was the exercise and the reducing weight part. More time for self-growth.
Does that mean you're not, with losing your weight, does that mean you're going to stay out of the kitchen? or the retreat?
Yeah, well, I'm not cooking for the retreat when we go to Cedar Creek because they do all the cooking, so I don't have to worry about that.
Good.
But I'm
Might lose weight then.
well, I'm only halfway on where I want to be, so that obviously, which is that bit there, will have to go on my next one. So some of the things that are on here will go on my next board, and one of them is losing the weight. Another one, I think there's a 10-pin bowling one there. I'm going to put that one back on because I got it again this year. My book for Dragon book that I'm writing, that story, that's going back on. Typesetting. There's some other things in typesetting that I want to achieve again because I'm going to be doing some recipe books from all my cooking. So there's a few things that will return, that will go from this onto my new one.
Yeah.
But with the Dragon book, we have strategies now. We have steps to get it done, don't we?
But we've started already. Yeah. But this here sits underneath it sits on my table where I have breakfast, and I've got a bit of glass on the top of my table, and it sits underneath it as my placemat.
All right. Okay.
So I see it every day. And that's the other thing you need to do with your vision boards. You need to be able to see it at least once a day, minimum. Once a day, you need to go, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I can achieve. Let's do this. Yeah.
A hint with vision boards I heard years ago from a feng shui lady was have it on yellow because it grounds it then.
Oh, see, I couldn't do that because I don't vibe with that color. That would just I think you just got to go with what was
or something yellow, amber, those types of colors.
Leanne was going to share something. Leanne, what have you got to share?
Put it on as the background on your screen of your computer, so then you see it every morning when you turn it on.
Oh, that's a
I'm
good
going to
idea.
do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah.
I love this. I love sharing this too. If we can share a vision board, my partner wants to do one as well. So I think that's also another good thing that you can do to reinforce your goals is if you set one together, you both have goals and you both understand what each other's goals are to help maybe achieve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, the first time I've ever done anything like this was when I first started hearing about the, manifesting by having pictures up. And my family and my kids were smaller and they're quite into dog training for the dog shows, but for kids, like junior dog showing. And we had this new little pup that we'd bought who was a little miniature schnauzer who had papers so we could show him. And we did a vision board of winning ribbons. And this dog was terrible. He was never going to win a ribbon, but we turned up to but because of that, we kept going to the dog shows and we turned up to one day and there was no other dog in his category at that show. So he still had to do the loop around and he did it. First we went the wrong way and then he started jumping around trying to play with everybody. And we did the loop around and he won the blue ribbon as a default for his category because there was no one else there in that category. Was a default win. And we took home a blue ribbon.
You did a Ray Bradbury.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And that's the thing that the universe and manifesting can do. It can send you funny things and you're just like, oh my gosh, all right.
Yeah.
I'll own that. I'll take that. Thank you very much.
Be careful what you wish for.
This is true. It's true. Oh my gosh.
Right, we will be winding up the recording. Everyone can still stay and chat, that's fine. But we'll be winding up the recording in just a moment. But I thought just before we do, maybe we'll just go around if you've got any last minute tips. But what I might do is I might say a name just so that we don't have everyone saying it at the same time. So just one last tip. You can just pass if you don't have one, that's fine. And Chris, what about you?
Mine is be careful what you try to manifest. Be specific.
Good. Raylene, how about you?
Leg.
Yeah. Sorry, what?
Pit, armpit.
One tip that you would give people for goal setting.
For goal setting.
Or anything that we've been talking about. Just a life lesson if you like.
Gee, That's hard. Well, my theme for the year is don't give up.
But
That's good advice.
That's
Lexia, how about you?
I think I have to take my own words and say I've got to be more disciplined.
Yeah.
And do things and set time aside and turn the YouTube off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and I've got enough. I don't really have to. I've got to edit another book, manuscript as well. Do a bit of writing on a new one, and I can always go and dig out something out of under the bed and type that up. I've got enough under there. I lost count at 78.
Cracking the whip for Lexi. Joanne, how about you?
I guess if you're wanting to be a writer, you can do it. It's up to you.
Yeah. The can of Coke exists, you can go and get it.
Yeah, go get it.
Yeah.
If I can do it, anybody else can.
Not saying it's easy though.
No.
There's steps and work, but yeah, it's
I've
doable.
worked hard.
Yeah.
I've worked hard.
Yeah.
But if I can do it, so can you.
Yeah.
So can anybody.
I think routine is a good word too.
Yeah. Leanne, what is your tip?
Monday, we used to do what? Washing on Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays.
Yeah, that's right.
Beat all the carpets and wax the floor.
Yeah, that's right. Leanne, what is your tip?
Well, I think the point of having a vision board is so you can see and feel what it's going to be like. So imagine you're already there and what it's going to feel like.
Imagine. That's good.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that step. Actually, just picturing yourself this time next year, having already achieved that. What does that feel like? Feels pretty good. Yeah. Now let's see. Christine Betts, have you got a tip for us?
I was going to say what Leanne just said about picturing yourself already having it. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. And our quote people tonight, you can wave me off if you like, that's fine. But Kate, have you got something for us?
I would say, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Having intentions rather than resolutions so much, that resonates a lot with me. And writing your goals down, but write them in pencil so that you can adjust them as you need to.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And Renee, sorry. Is it Rennie?
Yeah, sometimes it's Rennie.
Sometimes. Who are you tonight?
I'll be Rennie tonight.
Okay.
I really like the idea of sort of visualizing who I want to be in the future, and then imagining what I need to do today to get to that vision. So, action, motivation. That's kind of one of my action. Take action.
Yeah.
One of my other words for this year actually is courage and confidence. Courage.
Oh, good. Yeah. A lot of writers do need to build up that courage, don't they? Because it is a bit intimidating. Yeah, that's great. Well, you're doing it because you're showing up, and that takes courage. So that's great. I love this visualizing thing too that we've all been talking about. I'm thinking now, this is what PlayStation needs to get onto. They need to have for the VR set where you put it in now, and what you see is yourself having achieved the goals. I would love that. Then I wouldn't need to even achieve the goals. I just put that on every day instead.
PlayStation can have their own vision board.
Yeah. Oh, that's like that mirror, isn't it, in Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Where you see what your heart desires. All right, guys, I'm going to end the recording now. You feel free to hang around if you'd like to. I'm just ending the recording for those people at home. Thanks for coming along, everyone. Thanks for all the great ideas that you've given me as well. And hopefully everyone at home will get some ideas out of those as well. So, and we'll catch up again soon. Bye, guys.